YouTube frogs, so in this video we're going to be showcasing the power of Kinich at C0. All the footage was recorded on the Genshin Impact Creator Experience server, so keep in mind things are subject to change upon full release. For now, we're just going to do a C0 showcase and maybe a future video for C6. I know I said that for Mualani, but didn't actually have the scheduling space in our videos to create one, so if it happens, it happens. But before we jump in, let's start with a quick Kinich guide. So, our boy is a DENDRO 5-star attack scaling DPS. He shoots out his DENDRO grappling hook and goes full Spider-Man mode on the enemies, not even joking. His energy bar starts empty, and after doing normal attacks in this mode or other specific conditions that he'll meet, he'll gain Night Soul points to fill up that bar. 20 points in that bar is filled, and when it's filled, his E will change into a big DENDRO nuke. This nuke is the majority of his damage, and his multipliers definitely don't lie either. 1099% at level 8 is one of the highest solo multipliers in the game and definitely shows when dealing damage. You'll repeat this process spinning around the enemies while grappled onto them, spamming normal attacks with left click until his bar fills up and then pressing E. His burst will summon a jaw, the cute pixelated dragon yapping on his shoulder. He becomes a big dragon in burst form and deals AoE DENDRO damage initially and then once every 2.5 seconds for 15 seconds for a total of 7 attacks on this multiplier. While his burst does have decent multipliers at about 200% at level 8, its energy cost and cooldowns are a bit pricey for the particles that he personally generates. What I mean by that is he doesn't generate much particles, since as you can see he's on field main DPS, but he can't upkeep this, so it's a second priority to just spamming his E form, and you'll probably burst every other rotation overall. When you do burst though, make sure that Kinich is already in his E form, because if he's in Night Soul's Blessing, you'll get a 1.7 second extension to his E. So the bulk of Kinich is in his E, alright? It's got a lot of text inside of it. He's got a couple of gimmicks in this talent description, and all of his passive talents are basically related to it. So first, the mechanical stuff. So his E will grapple onto a nearby enemy. Press left click and he will slide in the direction he's facing and do what are called loop shots. Even though you press left click for these, which is considered normal attacks, they are considered elemental skill damage and have multipliers in his E. His actual normal attack talent is completely useless. So you'll be using directional keys A and D to update his direction. He gains a small amount of Night Soul for his bar with each normal attack, and there are other ways for Night Soul points. So after his E nuke in Spider-Man form, which is this scale spiker cannon damage, you'll see a blind spot show up. And this kind of, to me, it reminded me of Fiora's passive from League of Legends. You'll see it while he's in E form, there'll be like a quadrant that's highlighted with green. If you dash Kinich into that area, he'll get 4 more Night Soul points. It's randomly generated though, so you gotta be reflexive to play around it. Personally, I wouldn't recommend playing around it. He'll be fine. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. Other way is his A1 passive. If enemies are burning or they're taking Burgeon reaction damage, you'll gain a nice chunk of his bar, 7 Night Soul points every 0.8 seconds. So obviously, because of this, he's optimal in burning Burgeon comps because it allows him to only need 2 normal attacks over 2 seconds for a full bar. Basically, each normal attack gives him 3, and then this passive gives him 7. So it's 10 per normal attack every about 1 second or so. He only needs 20 for full bar. So if you don't have this up that often, he'll need 3 or more passive stacks. His other passive talents give him extra E damage when a Night Soul burst is triggered, and I learned recently that Night Soul burst is when any party member, doesn't have to be natlan, deals elemental damage when a natlan character exists on your team. So the more natlan characters that you have lowers the cooldown for the Night Soul burst benefit. So that being said, in the current state, when Kinich is released, you'll probably only be able to get 1 stack because the cooldown will last longer than 15 seconds. In this case, you'll only be able to get 320% for 1 stack, so that's fine. He also gets a really nice exploration movement buff in natlan with the Phlogiston. It basically allows him to double grapple. So you can grapple with your E in a normal area, but in natlan, you'll be able to E again when you're midair, basically just flying him over. And then when he lands, his cooldown's pretty short. After about 2 seconds, you can do the double jump again. So watch this. So he can jump and then E, then normal attack and then E again, and then normal attack and then glide. So you can do all that. And then when he lands, cooldown's up again. So you got this kind of sick instant jump that we used to have to use like Menti and other characters, but Kinich has got it right away. So in order to use this, you obviously need your Phlogiston here. So the first one's free, but the second E uses a little bit of that bar. So yeah, you can also do this, right? So Kinich is able to access these. And here's the thing, those don't count as actual E's. So you can just keep going. So launch here, then launch there, then launch again, and then launch for the third time. So you can interrupt the mid jump, and you can even come back to these, right? So you can literally keep going. It's kind of sick. So like, he's actually the Glide Master. He's Glide Master 3000. And he can continue doing this as long as there's sigils around. So Kinich is definitely Spider-Man extraordinaire. So whether it's in exploration or it's in gameplay. So in gameplay, you'll press E and then Q if it's up to get the 1.7 second extension. You'll press your left click button 2 to 3 times. Once you have the full Night Soul bar, you'll press E, you'll do the big nuke, dealing 1099 damage. Repeat 3 to 4 times for a nice single target damage. So this is all single target damage. So he's got really good movement. He's really fun, really nice character. Minor thing about his E, obviously if you kill an enemy, you left click, it will reattach onto a nearby enemy. So you don't really have to worry about it. And he usually stays within his little circle. So it's a little bit of circle impact. And then Q is A-Jaw, he becomes big form. All right, so talent priority, E and Q, nothing else. E first, Q second. Weapons. So signature is best in slot. You'll gain 1 stack of Canopy's favor after hitting an opponent with elemental skill, which is any part of his E, every 0.5 seconds. After a nearby party member triggers burning a Burgeon, which is perfect for him, you'll gain 3 extra stacks. Max 6 stacks. You get elemental skill and burst damage 10% for 6 seconds at R1. So it's 60% elemental skill damage, which is quite nice. Base attack is huge. Crit rate is lower to help you not overcap, because as you guys know, artifact set giving you 40% crit rate means that you are at risk of overcapping a crit. So Kinich's ascension stat is also crit damage. So it's good. If his ascension stat was crit rate, then you'd be definitely overcapping, but this helps you prevent overcapping on crit rate. That means that his crit damage will definitely be supplied all through artifacts, maybe even constellations. Other weapons, we got 5 stars. So we got Bacon, it's pretty good. He's on-field burning, so he likes the passive. He'll be taking damage for extra attack percent. We have Navia, we got low crit rate here. We got attack percent. We also have elemental skill damage. It's quite nice. We have a Red Hornstone Thresher, just for the massive crit damage stat stick. That's basically all this is. Wolf's Gravestone and the Enforger is not shown, are also okay. They're just attack stat sticks. They're not really optimal. It's fine. 4 stars. Earthshaker. So this one's the forgeable natlan claymore. It's very, very good. You get elemental skill damage bonus for a pyro-related reaction, burning Burgeon, both fine. Easily R5able. It's very nice for him to use. Otherwise, if you don't use this, you can consider R3 to R5 Serpent Spine. Even though that weapon wants you not to take damage, you'll still have decent uptime on it if you switch into him. The crit rate and the damage bonus is worth even if you lose stacks over time, so it's totally fine. Personally though, if it were me, I'd recommend Earthshaker if you are F2P or don't have any 5 stars. Earthshaker is very good. All right, artifacts. So of course, Obsidian Codex is the natlan best in slot, has free 40% crit rate, 15% damage bonus universal, very good. If you don't have Obsidian Codex, go Unfinished Reverie. Burning is a given in his comps, so it's very easy to proc. You can also run old Fontaine artifacts. So Mara Chassé is okay, but only recommended if you're running a Farina Burgeon oriented comp. But overall, Mara Chassé is always going to be worse than Obsidian Codex because it needs requirements to get the stat bonuses, and the stat bonuses are weaker than Obsidian's, so it is what it is. 4-piece Golden Troop is also okay because he's elemental skill damage, but it's basically only if you don't have any artifacts at all and you need something to put on him in the meantime. So it's just a stepping stone. Main stats is as expected, attack, dendro, crit, and there's a couple things about his main stats. So Goblet, attack is interchangeable if you don't have a lot of attack sources, but most of the time you do. So dendro is usually better. Mask, so here's the thing about the mask. Mask can definitely be attack percent circlet. The reason is because overcapping crit rate is a legitimate problem here. But the bigger thing is if you have Constellation 1, he gets free 100% crit damage for his big E nuke, which means that you don't need as much crit damage from your artifacts, which means that this could be attack percent. Crit damage is still better, but you know, it's really down to the optimizer at that point. The damage difference is much smaller if you have C1. All right, quick rundown for teams. The only requirement is having Burning or Burgeon in your team. That's it. So the simplest thing is Kinich Dendro. So he technically doesn't need another one. You just need some sort of pyro unit with him. That being said, characters like Emily, Nahida, Baiju are always good second dendro supports. For pyro units, Bennett is best in slot because attack boosting. The circle impact is actually pretty good for Kinich because Kinich also plays in the same circle impact, so it's not as much of a downfall. Dihia is for stagger interruption, but replaceable with someone like Zhongli if you don't need the extra pyro. Dihia is a good E-bot though, because the E basically guarantees that you have burning running 24/7. You can also run Xiangling, because Xiangling Bennett, yay, you guys know the drill, okay? Hydra units. For Burgeon, you can run any off-field hydro. So most often this is going to be Farina, Xingqiu, or Yalan. Kinich has left click, so it's pretty easy to do. Cool. If you want to do a flex slot, we can do a flex slot with Zhongli, Kachina, literally anything off field, it's fine. Just make sure you have at least one pyro unit to make burning with him. So it'd be one pyro as necessary and then 2 flex slots. Cool. Constellations. I realized I didn't have this section for previous videos, so I'll add it here now. C1, 100% crit damage versus E-nuke. C2, DENDRO resistance down, quite nice. Plus 100% damage bonus for his first nuke in E form. Cool. C3, C5 are the level stuff. C4 is probably the most useless one. Energy and ult damage, not really important because all of his damage comes from the E. And then C6 basically changes his E slightly. It adds pseudo AoE to his skill spiker cannon, which is the big nuke, and it's 700% of his attack multiplier. So it's roughly 50 to 70% of the original multiplier value, because the original multiplier is like 1100 at level 8. So you're getting about 60% of the damage here on AoE. And obviously this second part just means that it adds all the damage bonuses from his passive. So if you have the stacks from Night Soul, then you'll get the bonuses. Cool. All right, is this guy recommended to pull? Well, first of all, he's strong and fun as hell, single target wise, okay? Natlan power creep, he's got the movement there, all right? He's got exploration movement. He's fun. I like the kind of glidey movement that he has with it. It's really cool. Obviously, you get Age out here, annoying the hell out of him. You know, it's classic. Movement is good, but also has a downside, okay? He's going to be spinning everywhere. If you kill units, he's going to respin everywhere. So the camera movement might make you a little bit dizzy. That is a downfall, okay? So his movement is all about grappling and flying, so it's pretty fun. But of course, he's not a must pull because he's a DPS. All right, cool. So hopefully this quick guide wasn't that long. Want to cover everything as short as possible, as succinct as possible. But that's it then. Let's go have fun with him. All right, so here we are with Kinich. We are in front of local legends, and I'm choosing to use local legends because their HP pool is tankier. Tankier means able to survive full rotations. Otherwise, we would only be able to have 10 seconds of footage, and it really wouldn't be that valuable. So as you guys can see, my team here is a burning team. We have Emily, Dihya, and Bennett. Pretty stereotypical. Interchangeable units. Emily could be Nahida. Dihya could be Xiangling. Doesn't matter. I feel like core for Kinich, because he's attack scaling DENDRO DPS, is Bennett. Even though Bennett is circle impact, Kinich also, he set up his E around the area. He's also basically playing in a circle, so it's not that bad. My Kinich stats for this, we've got his signature weapon, of course. We've got 4-piece Obsidian Codex. He has Constellation 0 with 188 talents. You guys can see his stat distribution it's okay. We've got plus 40 crit rate from the set, so he's going to be 88% crit rate and 201 crit damage. I have chosen to forego energy recharge entirely. We're going to focus on his E damage, a little bit of elemental mastery, and a decent amount of attack. All right, so first trial, let's go test him out here. We are going up against Rocky Avildsen. I'm going to drag him out over here. We have Emily to reduce burning damage, so it should be okay. So the setup here is kind of interchangeable. I would say that Bennett being right before Kinich or right before Emily is either one. Depends on how much uptime that you want. I'm going to do Bennett into Kinich because I want Kinich to have the most uptime for the buffs. So we're going to set up with Dihya and Emily first. All right, got the setup up. I'm going to E and then Q. I'm going to start dancing around. Go, boom. 150k, boom, 120k, boom, 120k, boom. Yeah, so we were able to get 4 there. You guys can see, oh, okay, so my Kinich did die off of 2 ground pounds there, but look at the damage output. Pretty good, right? For a local legend, doing 1/3 of his HP is fairly solid for single target damage. And if we wanted, we could remove Dihya. We could do just Bennett. But here's the thing, Bennett doesn't have off-field power application, so we could instead drop Emily for someone like Zhongli. Really doesn't matter. It is up to you. I'm going to go to Natlan domain, and we're going to just clear this really quick because this is his artifact set domain. Show you guys how quickly he does it, even though he is single target. Okay, so we're in the domain here, and for the previous demonstration, you guys noticed that since Kinich is DENDRO and he's not doing spread damage, he's going to be doing less single target damage than Mualani, and this is obvious. Mualani has access to vaporizes, which are going to double her damage. Kinich doesn't, so Kinich is relying on raw multipliers. As you guys can see, his raw multipliers are pretty high, so it's totally fine. All right, so let's do a setup here. Quick setup. So I'm going to do this without any bursts because that's one of the benefits of Natlan characters so far is they are not burst reliant. So we can just wait for these guys to group up real quick. Set up Dihya. Set up Emily. Obviously, Bennett's attack bubble would be nice, but it's okay if we don't have it. Now we're just going to glide around. Pseudo AoE. Boom. And this is where the camera gets a little bit wonky. Not really too fond of it. But you guys can see overall, he's able to still clear it, right? I mean, like, this is totally easy. His speed is still very solid, even though he is single target. And what do we get? Oh, nothing. Okay. Classic. Oh, you guys want to see some artifacts that I have? All right, look at the artifacts on the creator experience server that I rolled. Like, look at this shit. Bro, I cannot save myself, no matter where I am. Like, what is this? Like, what even happened to these pieces? They're just like this was a perfect 4-line piece, and then it's like, nah, I don't care. 23% attack. Okay, like, whatever. All right, so for the second showcase, we're gonna do a little something different here. You guys can notice that I have a Burgeon comp with Xiangling, Xingqiu, and Bennett. These are all 4 stars. And I'm gonna do a world boss for this, just to demonstrate a little bit of the way that he scales this, all right? So this is how insane he is, right? We can jump E, and then E again, and he's on the platform. Like, it's just crazy, okay? All right, let's do proof of concept here. Set up Xingqiu. There we go. Okay, everything's set up. Let's go. Very good. And he should be dead. Yeah. I mean, obviously these world bosses are pretty squishy, but for the most part, if you want to do this type of comp, you totally can. I am doing full recharge Xiangling for this, so her burst is almost up. But for the most part, I do prefer burning still. Now, the reason why I prefer burning is because the team composition, while it is premium, it feels a lot easier to play. And one big thing is that this comp is burst reliant, because you need Xiangling's burst and you need Xingqiu's burst, or any off-field hydro. For burning comp, you don't. You just need to be able to set up the reaction. You're good to go. So my personal preference is something like we showed before: Emily, Dihya, and Bennett. I really do like Bennett with him. I think that it works out quite well. You obviously don't have to, but it is very synergistic. You get double Pyro and double Dendro for this. You can switch out Emily for someone like Zhongli, could be a flex slot, or you can do Nahida for more elemental mastery and additional damage. We can do a proof of concept with Zhongli though, because we already have our off-field Pyro and our attack booster. All right, doing this for energy real quick. Set up the shield here. Set up D here. Let's do Bennett, and then Kinich. He's just gonna swim around. Easy to proc. 180k, 150k, and you guys can see how camera movement can get really dank. All right, pseudo AoE is coming in handy here. Okay, let's do one last extended fight against the local legends, and we're gonna use this composition because we have durability from Dihya, we have shielding from Zhongli, and we have burn. So this composition, let's see, Zhongli is 50k HP with a little bit of recharge. He has Favonius Lance. We have Dihya on Bacon. Honestly, does not matter for Dihya. Dihya is just going to press E twice, and that's it. So, yeah. All right, we have reached the Fontaine local legend. We're going to do an extended fight here, see how long I can last. Zhongli's duration is longest, so we're going to pop his stuff first. Then we got Dihya, then Bennett, and then Kinich. And we're going to continue this rotation as long as possible and see how long it takes us to chunk through his HP bar. First things first, I got to lure him down. Okay, let's do this. All right, things are set up now. CC'd. All right, let's go. 1, 2, full bar. 180k, full bar, 150k, full bar, 150k, full bar, 130k, pretty nice, 1/3 HP. Reset this up. Where's he? Idea's got her E up. We're good here. Bennett's energy is up now. Boom. 1, 2, 150k. Did I miss that? I think I did because he was in midair. All good. 140k. Okay, you also notice, by the way, I didn't show you guys this, but in Kinich's E form, he actually has a number that ticks down when he's close to running out. So I'll show you that in a second. Let me do this real quick. Okay, set up everything here. Dihya, Bennett, of course. All right, so watch. I'm gonna do a full combo. 180k. So you'll notice when it goes down in 3, 2, 1, and it's over. See? So there is a thing that shows you when it's about to end, and it took about 3 rotations. 3 rotations for this with purely just burning and Kinich damage is what we're able to do here, which is pretty solid. We're gonna do the last little bit here. We don't need ult here. I'm gonna throw Kinich. 1, 2, 130k without Bennett. Pretty good. Boom. Yeah. So that is an extended fight. 3, 2, 1. It's over. So that's pretty nice. He has a lot of quality of life in him that I quite like, and I do prefer this composition the most. I feel like burning is the easiest to play, right? So that is a pretty solid Kinich showcase. I do feel like the camera for his E is a little dank, and I feel like it can be a turnoff for some people. One thing, maybe in the future they improve it, but I don't know. The fast mobility of him in natlan is what is like insane though. If you go here and you're just like, you know, traveling through the world, he is a gazelle, man. He just sends it, okay? He just sends it, and you can lash onto other things. You can keep going after that, and look, oh, another one. Oh, let's keep going. F it. And then once he uses 2, you gotta reset, but that's okay. His travel speed is insanely fast, and as long as you find these sigils that you can latch onto, you're good to go. And then his E cooldown's really short as well, so you can do this like every 2 seconds, where it's kind of insane. And you guys notice, like, I TP'd to this right here, and I'm already over here. So that just took like 10 seconds. Very, very, very fast. All right, guys, so that is Kinich in a nutshell. This guy is a DENDRO beast. He's got a mixture of fun, of damage, and easy composition to build around. So a couple things that I really like about him: not burst reliant. And if you're using the burning setup, his team setup is also not burning reliant. You just need to use some E's, and then you got the burning field set up, and then Kinich can go to town. Obviously, Bennett ult is really valuable because it's attack boost, but his attack is already pretty high, so it only gives him about a 25% to 30% damage boost, which is not as high as other characters, but it's still very valuable because Bennett's also pyro. Second thing is, I really like his mobility. It might be a turnoff for some of you guys, the way that he like spins around people, but I find it to be fairly enjoyable. I'm not a huge fan of the camera movement because it is really, really dang, and at some point you kind of just close your eyes and just hope you're hitting something. But I think his damage output is very solid. He's able to do between 150 to 200k, depends, without reactions, right? He's only using burning, so it is fairly nice. If you can also experiment with this team comp, right? It's not super rigid. You could do kind of like a quick burn if you want to add an electro to the burning comp, totally viable. We have the Burgeon comp with the Hydra unit. It's also possible. There's a lot of mix and match. Personally, for me, I am kind of like autopilot, so I really just like the burning comp. It's the easiest for me. That's what I like. But yeah, so overall, is he a must pull? As I said in the beginning of this video, he's not a must pull because he's DPS, so we will see in the future. But I do think he's really fun. I also think that he's, you know, like he's a pretty edgy looking character. He's got a really colorful design. And if you guys don't know, the JPVA, from what I understand, Sasuke for Kinich and Ajaw is Naruto. So if you enjoy the synergy between those two, then these characters, look at them, just having fun. Yeah, they're like some good buddies, you know, they're some good buddies. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. We will return in the future for more. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know what you think of Kinich in the comments yourself, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Take care.